Exploring my Stage 1 graphic design journey, a review of my design evolution and future perspectives. Hello, my name is Hollie Roberts. Today I'll be reflecting on my Stage 1 graphic design journey. This presentation explores how my creative voice has evolved through a focus on tactile experimentation, world building, and finding a balance between analog and digital processes. I will also highlight any common themes in my work and the areas I would like to further develop going forward. All of my work begins with a brief and significant research on the topic. From there, I begin to jot down initial ideas and to develop strategies. This can take the form of spreadsheets and matrix grids, mind maps, and flat plans, to name a few. These planning tools all help to deconstruct the brief and build up initial ideas. My process then moves on to the developmental stages, where experimentation and rough ideas start to form shape. I find this to be a particularly exciting stage when I'm using more analog methods for my designs, as it often feels like problem solving through play. The mediums I've used throughout this stage have been broad, including staining paper, painting, and using spray paints, printmaking, paper crafting, and even model building. Once a solid foundation is formed and an idea has grown legs, I then move on to refining my work until I feel it's successfully answered the brief. From the initial idea all the way to completion, the process moves through much testing, and throughout the last 3 years, that testing stage has become much more organic, and my decision making has sharpened exponentially, allowing me to make quicker decisions based on my learned knowledge so far. Some of my best work has stemmed from strong ideas that I have felt very passionate about, either the idea itself or the materials I've chosen to use. My slightly sarcastic sense of humour often shows through, as with the Manifesto project, where I chose to make light of what most often take rather seriously. The book cover brief, The Imposter Among Us, was an opportunity to think smart with the imagery, and I chose to include printmaking techniques, which I thoroughly enjoy. Assignment 2 of this year, I was tasked with creating graphical props for television. I consider this project my strongest work from Stage 1. Because there's no existing visual reference from a TV show, I had total creative freedom. I immersed myself in the narrative to create physical objects that I felt were lived in and used. This project really taught me that I'm most engaged when design feels more like world building. And lastly, the circus banner was also great fun, and like with printmaking, I love working with textiles, and honestly, just anything I can really get my hands on and build up from that initial idea. When looking through the last 3 years as a whole, I can clearly see a correlation between the work I've enjoyed and my strongest pieces. The work that I've enjoyed creating the most all has this common aesthetic of being slightly whimsical or fantasy-esque. This is no surprise, as I've always been drawn to the magic of fictional pieces, whether that be books, programs or movies, and even just everyday objects that just seem kind of otherworldly. Another common thread throughout my work is my use of bright and playful colours. I prefer work that isn't taken too seriously. And that isn't to say I lean more towards shallow content, just that I prefer light-hearted and less corporate designs that catch the eye and uplift. Animations and short videos are also an area in which I feel I can really immerse myself, and is one where, again, I love to incorporate analog elements. This part of my working process has consistently strengthened my work, and on the odd occasion I've created in digital formats only, my quality of work has taken a hit, and I feel it lacks the soul that my analog work brings. This is an area of design I'd really like to develop going further. To conclude my presentation, I feel it's safe to say that throughout my work there's a strong identity leaning more towards analogue and less serious design. Not only is this my preferred way of working, but also reflects best in my tutor feedback. My work as a designer has developed immensely since starting this course, not only my final pieces, but also the confidence that I've also gained in myself to make decisions with gumption. Areas that I will be pursuing throughout the course when given the opportunity include analogue methods of working, in particular printmaking and general crafting, and then fine-tuning these outcomes to a high level. I will also be further developing animation and moving imagery as part of that analogue refinement. Going forward, I would also like to start thinking about where I see myself working in graphic design in the future. As when I began this course 3 years ago, I really believed I would end up working in branding or marketing. Now, however, that couldn't be further from what I would like to do with my new gained knowledge. I am confident that I will find direction organically as I continue with my studies. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your day.